Here's my contact for you to have. My email is my name, Butch Thompson at auburn.edu. If I can ever help and assist, man, that's why we're here, is to connect. I know Hobbs, these catching guys that I've met here, Perry Hill, that's why I come. Plus, there's been 8 or 10 of you, man, that's just hung around for the first couple of times. I've enjoyed the talks and the sessions outside and spend a little one-on-one time. You hear coaches talk about all the time from a culture standpoint that relationships are everything, and man, have I gotten the benefit out of that, and thankful to be here. I was talking to Ron Polk a while ago. That's one of our legends in college baseball. Has won over 1,000 games, of course. It's his birthday today, so I had to call him on his birthday. And he's like, yeah, I've been up there to Toronto 3 or 4 times, and I'm like, what's the problem? He said, oh, people are great. I love going up there. Hope I get to come again, but man, it's really hard for me to have to put all those clothes on and walk outside and smoke my cigar outside in January. I thought you guys would get a kick out of that. I'm going to talk about identity today. I'm not going to play it. Yeah, I'll play it. It's about 30 seconds.
Swing and a miss. What a performance by the senior Justin Camp. That ball is way out of here. Oh, diving stop by Deese. Long run. What a catch. Anthony Greer. To right. Did he do it? He did. One KO.
When Tim was talking, I was sitting in the front row this morning on the outfield, and I picked out the dive plays on this because they didn't first happen in the game. And he was talking about while he's pitching, and those guys have to get out there and see what plays they can make. And all the things they talk about in pitching and all the drills that you do in catching, are we putting them in position to take risk in practice? Those dive plays happen way away from the lights and in the middle of a ball game. I just think that's another good example. I play these things constantly. We have 3 TVs in our locker room. There's always some statistics. There's always something looping of them having success. And then there's always whatever they're watching. But from a subliminal standpoint, they can always kind of check in with something statistically on our ball club, themselves, how they're compared to each other, or a way statistically that we have an advantage over someone, and there's always something looping. One of our boys' conference pitcher of the week or something, just seeing a couple of pitches that he's making. Just, hey, I want hard contacts. So the guy will go back the last 3 weeks and just every ball that we squared up, just loop it for our guys to see as they're just getting ready for practice, doing whatever. That's powerful. We do a vision deal with our program, and I know you got some younger guys, but man, start teaching them how to stand up in front of a group, stand in front of the camera and interview them. Have them cast a vision. So each of our players, we're going 35 days. Each player, when it's their day, they've got to give me a photo and commentary. Their vision for the season instead of it just being one of our coaches' visions for the season. Those are some drills and stuff that you got to be doing as well. These are my guys. Appreciation. Carl was the guy on the left is my recruiting coordinator. I was checking in with him a while ago. He was Vandy's all-time hits leader to the last couple of years from Jersey. Gabe Gross, I mentioned him yesterday when I talked. Steve Smith on the right is my pitching coach. He's Baylor's all-time winningest head coach, 21 years. Point of this slide is, hey, make sure you do a good job. I got to think in a couple hours I'm going to write a note to every one of my players instead of just thinking about the logistics of sitting in the airport. I'm going to put it in their locker as we start this new week before we get to this season. Are you doing that? And a lot of you guys are here together as staff, so are you doing a good job with your guys of showing your appreciation? These are master teachers that I have on my staff. These guys are really, really good. And I don't thank them enough. So if you're in that position and somebody's propping you up like I'm being propped up by great coaches, don't ever miss those opportunities to show your appreciation to the people that help you so much. I mentioned in my last segment of my father passing away. Man, I'd like to call him today. That's been the toughest adjustment for me personally, is the times you start to pick up the phone and he's just not there. Is this me? Is that better? This is pitching. That's what when I was listening to Matt Hobbs, this is what I think about. Matt, are you in here? Identity. This is what I put out to my team the other morning. Hey, most base runners in a game. When we did that last year, us and our opponents, it's 55-6 between us and the opponents that we played. Simple. No equation. Who had the most base runners? Isn't that amazing? 55-6. Biggest inning? Historically, when I've looked at this over the last 20 years or so, yeah. You want to change out? Okay. All right, we're not going to change the beard, so appreciate you helping me out there. Biggest inning, I've seen this over the last 20-plus years as being in that 80-85% range. It was high for us last year, 51-4, so that's not all the games we played, but biggest innings must have been even with us and our opponents a little bit. Most freebies we quantify as HBPs, walks, and errors. So the freebie deal gets you at 78%. So those are the things we try to focus on to simplify it for our ball club, kind of a unified goal. That's why command is such a big deal at the end of the day. And we're talking and bragging about Casey Mize being the #1 pick. He's separated from a staff of great arms in college baseball because he struck out 120 and he walked 11. And command really gets you somewhere. I mentioned this earlier. All I meant by this statement that you're reading right now, oh, it's not up there. I fear the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once. I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. And the whole title of this is your identity. So those are simple identity deals when we're down 4 runs in the 7th inning to LSU. Let's just get the most base runners. Don't quit. Let's just keep trying to see if we can catch them in base runners. Find something simple to keep them playing and playing for something. But until you have an identity, you don't know what your one kick is to work on 10,000 times. Why do you need an identity? Because you'll get matched athletically the higher levels you go. Your weaknesses, sometimes as a younger coach, we focus too much on our weaknesses. If I could sit here and talk to my younger self 20 years ago, I'd said, quit trying to fix everybody's weaknesses and make every one of their strengths 5% better. That helps the ball club. Just because somebody gets better at a weakness doesn't necessarily help the ball club. But if everybody, including the coach, would focus on the strengths and make strengths a little bit better, you can make a bigger difference on the ball club. I'm convicted of that. Ability to master skills because of the Bruce Lee concept, and you're going to be asked to run your own show in my world. My daughters eventually, I could be right here with you today, and my junior in college could break down today with a flat tire in Auburn, Alabama. Can she change it? Or was I her father, never taught her? I've done everything for her. I've caught all of her pitches. I've done everything in her world that she's sitting on the side of the road right now, incapable of getting herself or dominating this situation. She's going to have to change that tire because if she called me or texted me right now, I'd tell her to figure it out. That's why it's important to come up with an identity and run your own show. I'm going to go through this. I want to get to some stuff. How about instead of just putting their name up, we did this at Mississippi State. John Cohen did this. I thought it was phenomenal. So when they come in every day for practice, this is Trevor Fitt's identity. Lead, he wanted to throw more first pitch strikes. Confidence, he wanted to disrupt timing. He wanted his pitches to share space. He wanted to be captain at Mississippi State, which he was his senior year. He actually threw the national championship game against UCLA in 13. There's a little bit of accountability, self-accountability, when every day you walk up to your locker to change and it's got your name and your number there and your hometown. But if your identity is stamped up there, you're going to see it every day. What another good drill for somebody to do instead of just the things that people put on their mirrors in their bathroom for their whole life. How about making that part of your locker room and their identity is plastered right up there for them to see every day, and maybe for other people to, as they float around the locker room, to kind of see, man, that dude, that's his identity. But that's a good deal that we did there, and we loved it. All right. So the other thing I did is I said, one, we try to lower their stuff when they first get there. That's one of the things that we try to do. We try to get them quick to the plate, still hit the string, and go off the glove flash of the catcher we talked about in the last segment. And one of the next things that we do is we video them in a different way. So you got hitter, you got count. If you look up above the catcher and a little bit to our right, you'll see the count. Now, that's Mississippi ingenuity, but it's the count. And it flips, and it goes by the count. And the pitcher can't see himself. The first time they come in and want to watch their video, they can't see themselves. But he can see the batter. He can see the count. He can evaluate ball flight. He does something that he's never done in his life. He can't focus on him. He's focusing on these other things. I'm trying to take awareness from the standard of like, was my leg high enough or my glove? I'm trying to eliminate that and make him see the game in a heightened awareness. Running his own show, so he's making pitches. He's making decisions. Man, if you do it all the time and that's the only way of life, it works. 2011, 12, 13, 14, for 4 years, we had second best ERA in America. Look at him. He's already got the grip. He ain't even got a sign yet. He already knows what he wants to do. All you guys calling pitches, just know they already got a grip. And as soon as you put down something different, they're like, oh, geez, cheese and crackers. He was convicted on something, and he don't have to change it. He can go with it. That's pretty neat. This is a good revelation for these guys instead of just focusing on their mechanics. One goal per day. So every one of our players know that they have to be thinking about one thing every day, because I'm probably going to ask them, what you got today? I hate guys that come through and they just go through another day of practice. And I don't know if you get 10 things licked, but at any point in time, I can come up and tap you on the shoulder and say, what you got today? And I want to know their one thing that they showed up to the park to accomplish. Just one. What's the one thing you came to the park to accomplish today? That's huge, hugely driven by your identity. Does it match the identity? And once they give it to me, have we got there yet? Have you addressed it yet? What's the one thing that you want to get done today? Begin with the template, just like we do in everything. All right? And then let them run with it. I've been hearing that theme here the last couple of days. I love the guys that Dirk put together because it's made me better. I want you to introduce the program's identity, then become an English teacher with a red pen. A good example of that is Kendall Graveman, that had his debut with the Blue Jays a few years ago. We did a start-to-start video where I watched him. We filmed him. He did voiceovers. 7 days between starts, from a Friday to a Friday. We filmed his bullpens, his weightlifting, his dry needling that we did, the massage therapist, the bullpens, the long toss, everything that he did for a week, we filmed it. The food intake, and that's his start-to-start program in 7 chapters. Day 1, 2, 3. He said it's the best exercise he ever did in his life. And he started with a template. This is our template. And then so we get 7 or 8 weeks as we go through the fall. So what I do with the new guy in our program is they go, here's the template. Here's what most of our guys have been doing. And then for those 8 weeks in the fall, they're changing something every week. Maybe long toss day 1. The next week, maybe they long toss day 2. Maybe they bullpen between starts 1 week. Maybe in week 4, they bullpen twice. So they do a day 2 and a day 4. And they're just responding and figuring out every day with their body what they need to be doing. For them, specific for them, instead of the British redcoats trying to figure out, instead of everybody doing the same thing, same instruments, same distance, they're figuring out their own way. The other thing that Kendall, when he had to sit here and say this to the whole world, he had to be convicted about it. I said, I'm going to sell those. I'm going to put those out there. You have to tell me what you believe in. Your start to start, not my start to start. Mine's the template. Jerry Weinstein puts it so well. Hey, man, we want you running wide open down the road. I added the Audubon part because I want to tack and I want to go as fast as you possibly can. But he's like, we're just the guardrails. Run fast. Go fast. Our job really as coaches is just to be the guardrails. Kendall Graydon's got to figure out his own start-to-start program instead of just regurgitating the template that we have for him. That's how he found out his identity. You can never repeat the same delivery twice. I brought that up too. I keep sneaking stuff into other talks. But none of you can autograph your name the same way twice, right where you're sitting right now. How are you going to get up on that mound, 60 feet, 6 inches away, an inch of fall every foot, and ask your body to organize the same? Basically, to cut through some of the stuff and keep moving, the people that get the closest to it is 35 years old. Nobody's ever done it before, according to ASMI Clinic in Birmingham, Alabama, established almost 30 years ago by Dr. James Andrews. That sounded like the little catcher guy right there. It's never happened. But the 35-year-old guy gets closest to it because he's been after it for so long. That's how your mechanics get better, is you do it for 10s and 20 and 30,000 hours. It gets more efficient, more economical as you go along. But I don't believe you can ever repeat the same delivery twice. So if you come play at Auburn or you come play for me, we don't have to talk about it. That can be somebody else's crutch. Let's kick their ass. Let them think about mechanics. Time spent is the best mechanical developer. Age takes the movements out. It makes them more efficient, makes them more economical. In the United States, we got pretty much to an epidemic. How I was trained and how I started training of guys connecting dots and creating robots. And we would find, people to the south of us, the Dominicans or Puerto Ricans, and it looks like they were in concert with dance moves, and nobody taught them nothing except let them play. It's the freedom, the autopilot, and those are all those things that just kind of stick into your brain. It's like, hey, I'm not here to make you a robot. I'm here to work on your game. Here's a template. Go make it your own. And that's what I'm trying to stress. I mean, this is good to do. You're just trying to be creative. So we'll go 3 groups. Each guy, once you do this one down here, you come to the second line, then go to the third line. What are the 3 or 4 things you want to do? So that's obviously a pitch out to a left-handed hitter. The catcher can work on it too because that's important. Glove foot down with the catch before he goes into his deal. And here's a little fungo. It's just a 1-2-3 double play. And then he's running back to the other, all the way back to the beginning. Just change it up for him. Just change it up. Here's a fun deal. You can put some sound on with this one. So there's 7 major league pitchers here that are little college guys. The guy in the blue shirt's a walk-on, so he don't count. He don't even get a jersey. The pitchers have a 2-1 count, all right? We're just trying to be tough and compete and not think about mechanics. If you throw a 2-1 changeup for a strike, the catcher's going to roll you a ball. And now you act like a guy, you're throwing a guy out at second base represented by the little square there behind both pitchers that are doing the drill. If the ball goes in that square, then you go tap the next guy. So we divided up in class just like I did when I was in middle school. We're like, hey, Johnny and Ralph pick teams. And we just went boom, 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 boom. And all the guys like me are picked last. And then you just get on 2 teams and you do this drill. What a great start. We've already done our little Jaeger. We've opened up our arms. We're ready for today. And then this is just a couple minutes of work.
Let's go!
Do it again. If he misses, he got a dry delivery, comes back, throws it to second, gets it. Come touch the next guy. Again, gotta be careful with all these drills. Pay attention. Slowed it down, didn't he? He just slowed it down, got easy because he couldn't do it. He's rushed, took a breath, put it in there. You just learn things that you don't have to sit here and do all this time talking and teaching. I should talk for 10 minutes and sit down. 40 minutes goes by like in 4 minutes to me, but I'm not getting to know information. Find the right things to work on and good creativity. Confidence throws, before I show this, we only do it, you get 5 throws a year. 5 throws a year. I'll play it. So you'll see a starting point. They get 5 throws. Also, this is November. They've been through a whole training session. School starts approximately August 20th. We go all the way to the point of November where we're shutting down for the Thanksgiving break. The fall is just completed, and I let them do this, and I'll tell you why in a second. The world tries to sell it that they're doing this for, once a week or once a month, or we get 5 throws of these a year. I'm doing it mentally. I'm doing it because this boy has never thrown 100 miles per hour, and it's not part of the game. But if I'm the coach, if I'm his coach and he's never hit 100 miles per hour before, and I get him to run 2 miles and throw a ball, and he hits 100 miles per hour, that's confidence. That's being able to juggle 3 balls again. Whenever you can get somebody to achieve something that they hadn't before, you don't own them, but you got them. You have their ear. You have a little bit more trust. Track record, where you've been, and helping somebody do something that they've never been able to do before. What are little games you can play with your guys to get them that somebody hadn't been able to get there with them? That's why I do it. Part of our identity. Because now for the whole rest of that year, this was the last year or the year before, I was able to go, boy, what are you doing, man? Let's go. You throw 100 miles per hour. Get this dude out. We just need 3 outs. We're out of here. I've seen the ball come out of your hand 100 miles per hour. What are you talking about? Breaking ball down out of your hand. Tim Spooneybarger was with the Braves, went up, got called back down, went back up again the second time. Biggest thing he learned is when I come back down, the game slowed down, and the breaking ball down out of the hand. If you can get it down out of the hand where it doesn't pop up, then here's all that tunneling and sharing space all these smart boys are talking about, that Rapsodo, TrackMan, all this stuff shows you. They hit what they see, and they have to do it at a certain time. It does not go up, I promise you. It stays on plane. Could you get a ball to go more 12 to 6? It's like a zipper. That's like me coming straight down the elevator. That's beautiful. Sometimes if you just show them this stuff, what a great day to loot this, right? So I've looted this a few times. When we have less than 8 strikeouts in the game, I'm looping breaking balls, I'm looping strikeouts. I do. I like strikeouts because nobody else likes them. This was 5 or 6 years ago. This guy was just dealing and rolling, and they did this overlay. This is one of the first times I'd ever seen the overlay, and I just thought it was powerful. It's like a bouquet. It's like a swarm of bees all together. Different speeds, locations. Look how that last one, that slow curveball, takes a while to get there. As long as you can, the longer you can hold your stuff together, the tougher it is on the hitter. You diminish his time. Everybody's bagging on all these hitters in Major League Baseball. You know, in Major League Baseball, the average fastball has went up 9 consecutive years to the tune of half a mile per hour a year. It's cranking up there about 93.5. Average. Not the best, average. 90 mile per hour fastball is, 0.4 of a second. Oh, that sun, I got my eyes. That's 0.4 of a second. That's a 90 mile per hour fastball. So you start decreasing time. You start doing the Chapman stuff and start getting 102. And you start seeing the first baseman, especially left on left, same side guy, because he releases the ball 7.1 feet away from the mound. And you're like, that bozo, that clown swung before the ball ever left his hand. Of course he did. He's got like 0.17 seconds to get out of cheap seats and you climb up there with that bat. You'll be swinging. The umpire will throw him a ball and he'll start swinging. But the longer our guys can keep stuff together. So then I got the guys that are really good pitchers they're throwing 90 and they think they're average for our deal. Then I go like, hey, do you believe in actual velocity of that radar gun, or do you believe in perceived velocity? The only thing that counts is when they see it. I got you an area to gain that's like you're throwing like 2 or 3 miles per hour harder, and you don't have to throw any harder, but you got to package your stuff. My worst breaking ball guys in history, I say, what are you thinking when you throw a curveball? And he goes, well, I try to get my arm up, and then I got the elbow thing, and then I'm bringing it back. And it's like 7 different things. The best guys I've ever coached. Hey, what are you doing on your breaking ball? I'm throwing the shit out of it. Period. The best of the best, and I don't know why. It's almost to zero. It's intent. It's intent. And if you can get that breaking ball down out of your hand to match that fastball for just a little while, it's to your advantage. We throw to the L, so we throw there. And my mama's bat's flat on the ball there. So we don't practice it. I don't know what age group you're working with, but we don't practice down the middle. That's not what we're trying to engrave. Same thing for a right-hander. It's just now a backwards L. So you can kind of see the 2 L's. That's where we throw to. We do not throw down the middle. That's not where we're trying to. We'll just throw somebody else. Now, some guys are definitely better one side of the plate to the other. And again, remember a while ago, I'm going to do the strengths. And if my strengths get to where it trumps with that hitter or that team that you're playing, just bring in another pitcher. Don't ask somebody that's lousy on the other side of the plate to go to the other side of the plate because it's the weakness of their team. Just go get another dude instead of asking him to do his weaknesses. Pattern 1, you divide the plate in half. I can't give you too much information here. We earn thirds of the plate by our ability to throw strikes. Our pitchers and catchers know this. We do throw to the gaps and we lift and we go beneath, but those are patterns. So if we're not calling pitches, what are we giving our pitchers? The goal of the at-bat. Oh, I'm okay with contact and I want a ground ball. In the at-bat on this pitch, go for the jugular. Hey, I don't care if you walk him. It's okay. No worries. We tell the guys the goal of the at-bat by our numbers instead of what pitch to throw. Again, it's not what you throw, it's where you throw it that means the most to us. Movements, strength and conditioning. The other way I used to really screw it up. So I told you my strength coach, 8 of the last 9 years, he's been a major league, big league strength conditioning coach. But all we're doing is movements. Hinge movements. Can you move well? Can we get you moving better? Strength and conditioning is a supplement. We're not trying to win the strength and conditioning national championship this year. We're trying to win a baseball national championship in Omaha. And I'm into gradual development. Every time I've tried to get somebody and get them to gain 20 pounds in 3 months or gain 5 miles per hour in no time, we've lost coordination, we've lost command, we've caused a ton more problems. You know, Casey Mize boy is a great example. He came in, he stayed 3 years, he's 1 year from graduating, and he made $7.5 million by coming to school. Well, I wish I had everybody would come in and get that same result. But the point is we're just working on movements. 20 pounds over a career. I used to try to get everything immediate. Now, just like parents want that I talk to, just like the player wants that I talk to, just like society wants. I still don't think that's how the best are built over time. Just good stabilization, movements, hinging, and it's a process. We coach speak too much with that. Pitch and roll. So every pitcher on my team, the best, Casey Mize, and then the ones that really suck, they all have a role. The problem early in my career is everybody that sucked didn't have a role. It's not fair. Same creator, same purpose, might make a difference. He might pay for my development center in 20 years because he's usually the smartest guy on the team. Be nice to the little guy. Be good to everybody. Give everybody a role and a purpose. That's our job. Reevaluate that if you got 3 or 4 guys without a role. So we got a closer. We got a competitive moment guy because closer, man, what's a closer anymore in college baseball? It's just like whenever you get to the competitive moment, you're bringing that guy in. It could be in the 7th inning. It could be in the 6th inning. Doesn't matter. Who's your best guy to the pen? You got a starter? Okay. Well, they've been starting their whole life. Everybody I get's been starting their whole life. Piggyback. So a lot of times I like to go, especially early in the year. We got 34 days till our season starts. Man, we ain't got all this time. We really don't. We don't have all this time. We get them up to about 60, 65 pitches, what we're looking at right now. So we'll basically go 2 starters on Friday, 2 starters on Saturday, 2 starters on Sunday. And see if that can get us 120 pitches into a ball game, opening weekend. And we might even flip them the next week. Wipeout. Wipeout guy's a guy that can't throw strikes, but he's got great stuff. You bring him in, 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. If he walks him, no problem. Here's where I screw it up. I bring the guy in, the wipeout guy. The hitter's so anxious that he strikes himself out. I get over there and I'm like, hey, this is the day he's figured it out. He just did his job with an open base. His walk that he always does can't screw it up. What do I do? Oh, today's his day, his moment. And the lightning just struck him from the sky. I put him out there. He walks the first 2 guys the next inning. My fault. That's my fault. Just let him do his job. Strike him out. Get him out of there. Now he thinks he can juggle something. Did y'all see that strikeout I just had out there? I'm awesome. But don't put him back out there to walk the next 2 guys to start off the inning because he sucks at that. Settler, the guy that can't get a strikeout, can't do anything. Man, he's up when you're good. When you're up 4, you're down 4. That team's bored, they're tired of scoring, or you just need strikes. You just need somebody to shove the ball in the strike zone. You don't rely on this guy for a strikeout in that wipeout situation. But, man, if you just want the ball shoved in the strike zone, who's that guy? Man, you're a settler. Just go settle this game for me. I'll drink 1 more cup of coffee, maybe 45 minutes. We've gotten a little bit closer, and then we'll reevaluate. Save my pen. That's what I don't tell them. I don't want to throw any more good pitchers, but you do throw strikes, so go see if we can shove it in there and we can catch it. Because I can't use any more bullets because I'm down 4 in the 6th inning. I'm not going to waste another guy because we got to play these clowns for 2 more days. He thinks he's a settler. I'm going to go settle. I'm going to go vulture me a win. and just see if the defense can play, if you can have a big inning, get back into it. Matchup, same side hitter. You know, there are some guys that can really get out the same side hitter that can't get out the opposite hitter. You know, this guy for sure. There's some occasions. Roller, ground ball machine, so you're ready to take somebody out as soon as he walks, the first guy. You don't necessarily have to put in a strikeout guy with the runner on first and nobody out. Put that roller in because we were the best in America at turning double plays. Don't put swing and miss guys with guys on first base. You have the opportunity and the power to throw one pitch and get 2 outs. And if you figured all this stuff out, the roller goes there. If he's a ground ball guy, put him in right there. Don't wait till he walks one more because you thought he had the lightning strike. Go ahead and do it with the runner on first and give him a chance. Because if you wait till it's first and second, now you don't need the roller anymore. You need the wipeout guy. And he might not throw a strike. Oh, I've screwed this stuff up through the years. There's some more. And like last coach said, I'll help you guys any way I can. You want the boys to mimic you. My words are attack, legacy, and vision. Of course, they put attack, legacy, and velo with the little tape down there. I absolutely love it. Keep it simple. Make them mimic you. John Maxwell took our coaching staff to a conference back in December, and he's like, man, that's a form of flattery. When you're out of the room and they're over there making fun of you, that's a form of flattery. You're hoping they're doing that in 20, 25 years when they come back. That's good stuff. Get them to practice in front of the mic. So this Dakota Hudson, he made up with the Cardinals this year. So he's sitting in the Spartanistic room that we got to work in. I wanted it Spartanistic. There's a lot of dust, asbestos, whatever you got. That's where we want to train. Kind of like Rocky, right? Drago's got all the Rhapsody and Coach Hobbs and everybody else. And I'm a Rocky, man. It's the snow's falling through the ceiling. But these boys got to get up in front of their peers 4 times a year. Pre-fall, post-fall, pre-spring, post, before they leave. And they got to say their identity. Who they are. You got to practice that too. Each one of our players have to stand before our team at home plate because somebody wins every pitch. And give us a message of their vision. Yeah, we'll forget about Chris there. I'm at like 1 minute. He's a big leaguer, but he's stumbling all over his words like me. Holder for the Yankees through the 25 scoreless. The track man helped him. He was the shortest stride on our deal, but short stride equals it helps you with vertical break. So he had 13 inches of vertical break, the most in college baseball that year. So we kept his stride short. My whole career I've been trying to make strides longer because I thought it made him throw harder. He went to the Cape his junior year, you know, that sophomore to junior year, and they're like, hey, we got to get you stride out there and get you drafted, gain some miles per hour. It was exactly the opposite. As soon as he gets back in the fall, he's throwing, he's backing up every base, and I'm like, what the heck did y'all do in the Cape? So we just went and saw the stride. We got it back, so we went back to from 9 inches back to his 13 inches, All-American, big leaguer. Kendall Graveman is a sinker ball guy. I said, Kendall, you're the best sinker ball guy in America because you can't spin anything. It's 1,900 spin rate. And every time he would go up, he's backing up all the bases. So I'm like, hey, this string, this 50-cent string, he's your daddy. Quit throwing up there and be the best sinker ball pitcher in America. That's how Dada's helped me in the simplest form. Gerardo, 7 innings, made his debut with the Blue Jays. 7 ERA, 7 innings pitched as a junior in college. Chad, I'm not going to pitch you this year. Let's graduate, you're a senior. But if you'll drop down, I'll get you drafted. Would you do this for Mississippi State? Will you do this for our ball club? 2.5 years later, he gave up his first home run because, boy, he gave up a ton of home runs. That made him an All-American, never was drafted, went in the 8th round on his own, and made it to the big leagues. I never would have thought that. Jacob Lindgren, 90% of college baseball starts him. He's only got 2 pitches, which is fine. Sometimes it's hard for a starter to be 2 pitches. Swallow pride, go to the bullpen. His dad cursed me out. Didn't believe in it. He was the Yankees' first pick. He struck out 100 guys in 50 innings because he's only got 2 pitches. And we just tunneled and shared 2 pitches instead of trying to develop 5. of mediocrity and average stuff. Mitchell's the low spin guy. Just try to end the at bat on every pitch. But they're all different. Every one of these cats are completely different. That's the velocity stuff. If they'll give me 30 seconds, there's a Rapsodo in our bullpen. Conduct does the sleep. So I got this fueling station. We got everything. We can feed the boys 24 hours, 7 days a week. But we're not charting it. We're not learning anything from it. So this Conduct is a great way to measure sleep, the nutrition. Now we're putting that into practice a little bit more. This is Ross Mitchell, worst breaking ball in college baseball. Here's another thing. It's so lazy just to throw bullpens, and it's even more lazy to throw flat ground. If you get to a certain level, it's really important. The only way Ross Mitchell survived is the SEC tournament. I always like striking somebody from LSU out. He's got a bad breaking ball. So we didn't throw it in the bullpen. We always threw it to a hitter on the field. And I got tired of doing that because it was really inconvenient. Because I'd have to have a left-handed hitter, and I'd have to have him. His curveball can't survive if it's in front of the hitter because they're there. We would have to set it and get swings every week off of a hitter because we'd have to start at the back hip because we needed the front hip to do that. And if we could get a hitter's front hip to do that, we set it every week of his career. The biggest winner I've ever had in my career. But he had a lousy breaking ball, and we had to set it every week. Are we so lazy once we figure out something like that makes a difference? Or are we so lazy that just throw his bullpen? You know, that's what we're looking at. So, man, I've enjoyed this with you guys. If I can ever do anything to help you, I gave you my email. Dirk, I appreciate you letting me be here, and I'll hang around as long as anybody wants me to. Thank you, man.